3-9. Give me 1 second.
Peace to the tribe.
And we are live, Vocal Dialect, Season 1, Episode 7. And we have a very, very interesting topic. The topic is, are we getting, let me get the topic for you guys, family out here. I had the topic right on the tip of my tongue. My fault. Are we getting real scholarship from our leaders now and from the past? I am with Son, not Son, Queen Got His Hope, Kinwato Ikea, Obasi Kente, and I am Knowledge Born 7. Let's get it in, family. How y'all doing out there? Peace and love, peace and power. How y'all doing out there today? How was y'all day today?
Yo,
Peace.
Man, good in the hood, man. We here. No complaints.
I have a lot of complaints, but I won't.
Queen got me.
Yes, sir.
Are we getting real scholarship from our leaders now and from the past? Let's
Right.
pretty much let's break it down. I'm gonna ask you a question, Obasi, and I'm gonna load up the content. You know what is scholarship to you?
Scholarship is work, first of all, in my opinion. Scholarship is like work. It's like a catalog. It's your understanding of our historical lens, you know, through our story. It's your craft. Scholarship is craft. It's John Henry. It's not a John Henry Clark. It's not Amos Wells. Dr. Patricia Newton. Anybody don't know Dr. Patricia Newton? Look up Dr. Patricia Newton. Real people that came here and put it down. You know, I could give a couple of examples, but yeah, that's for me, man.
Let me ask something. Do we have any scholars now in this present day? What do you think?
I'm sure, yeah, absolutely. You know, there's a lot of brilliant brothers and sisters, you know. But I think the question I'm gonna ask: are we getting quality scholarship? Are we getting
Yeah.
Are we getting scholarship or sponsorship? Are we sponsoring, you know, the United Negro Way, or are we getting like legitimate scholarship? You know, those things that I named. You know, people like Dr. John Henry Clark, who he did a lot of reading. He did a lot of reading. He was the book, you know. Scholarship is many levels. So, yeah, I think that's the question I ask. Are we getting quality scholarship?
Right. I don't know.
But, yeah.
Over the topic, though, boss.
I mean, I think, you know what? I think this is one of the ones that was coming from one of me and your bills. And we was like, yo, man, you're not even really, are you even really kind of getting real scholarship? Because you look at it from like a then to now. You had serious ones. You had Ishaka Musabar Shango. You had Dale Jones, who wrote Culture Bandits. You had Bobby Hemmett. You know, you had a lot of guys that was, you know, on the real lecture circuit that they brought they brought their scholarship. They brought their work. They brought what they, you know, I don't say resumes because that sounds like so workforce and, you know, kind of corny, but they took a craft serious. They really had a passion for reading. Now I think the ones that they are giving us, they're reading with an agenda. You know, that makes sense?
Yeah.
Same thing for you though, Knowledge. What is scholarship for you?
Scholarship. Let me get to it. I'm glad you asked that question, my friend.
I'm glad I asked you too.
Now, the scholarship back then kind of paved the way and laid the foundation. I think during that time, the people who we deemed to be scholars, your Dr. Benz, your Dr. Clarks, of those, I mean, those people, those scholars, they were more in tune with self, and they was on a particular agenda, and there was no bickering among them. There was no there was no arguing, who was right, who was wrong. It was a lot of building. It was a lot of building that took place in order to form and shape what we have what we have today. Because scholarship is this: in any formal talk as far as dialogue, two scholars come together. They bring their scholastic materials of what they learned, and with the scholastic materials, if they have an audience, the audience would pretty much draw a conclusion to the hypothesis that they have been presented. So in essence, you come with your facts. If it's geographical, if it's doctrine, scripts, books, or whatever, and you also come with also your heart involved with it too, because a lot of the old scholars, they were passionate. They were passionate about teaching about ancient Kemet, about Africa, things of that nature, and they took it very seriously. They took it so seriously, they went to leaps and bounds to prove their information, and not just that though. If the information was not proven, then they will come back and be like, I did not find this when I went to prove this particular information. So scholarship back then built a lot of character. It built men, and it gave us books that we can go off of today in order to go forward. Now, with these books that we have today, as far as going forward, and we dealing with scholars, we learn more, and then some of the information that that we are privy to, that they were not privy to from other scholars, as far as the findings and things of that nature, we can build even higher as far as our scholarship. That's why it's important for us to take scholarship very, very serious now, versus then and now. I think the scholars of then were more in tune, and they were more about building. The scholars now, when you talk about the scholars now, as far as consciousness and getting into what we know as far as to be conscious and come from some particular school of thought, if it's Moors, if it's Hebrews, 5% Nation, Islam, it's becoming more Hollywood. It's like Facebook. Everybody do things for likes and clicks. I don't see a lot of passionate scholars of today like I would see in the past.
1,000%, man. You saw them go into the books. You saw none of John Henry Clark. You saw Dr. Ben. You saw them go into the books so they no longer needed the books. Now you're not really seeing too many people like use books to. They kind of steal the swagger and make it seem like it's their own.
Right.
It's a level of honor. You're supposed to always cite your sources. If you into something, you got to ask that person, hey, where you get that from? And a real scholar has to answer you. He just can't say, don't worry about it, or that he has to, if he's confident, if he or her is confident in their information, they have to answer you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But what does scholarship sound like to you, Queen?
It's pretty much in line exactly with what you both were saying, as far as, who has, like, for me, when I think of scholarship, I definitely think of inner knowing and one who studies, thinking about my childhood and, observing the way my dad processed his studying and being a theologian, collecting volumes and reference books and going to libraries and actually doing the groundwork to study a specific subject, to be an expert and to really understand that you have greater knowledge, which is why they call it scholarship. People are coming to you for that knowledge of higher education. So if you're lacking some sort of higher education and if you're not able to pass it on to others, then what do you really have? I think when we were talking today earlier, I was trying to break down the topic of the conversation of real scholarship from elders then and now, and really trying to dissect what does it look like today. And to your point, we really don't see many people who are studying. It's almost as if it's reserved for collegiate education. It's
Mm.
really not necessarily something that is passed on within the community. Growing up in New York City, we would go from Staten Island to Manhattan, Harlem, Queens, somewhere around New York City, and we would see all of the different groups of people passing on their knowledge with blowhorns, trying to give you tracks, trying to give you that scholarship, that information for you to embark on or to impart in you. So now you could leave and go home with something to ponder. And I respect my dad so much because before he finally became what he is today, on a religious standpoint, he made it a point to study many parts of religion and really in schools of thought to figure out where he wanted to reside and last. And I don't think that, this is any different. I think, unfortunately, with technology, and them giving us a cell phone, it's just a different form of jail. So unfortunately, that takes away people's social skills. It takes away people's knack or hunger for education or for knowledge. There is no true knowledge, they're suffering. Isn't that like a thing in the Bible? Your people will perish for lack of knowledge.
Yes, it is.
Right? So it's like I don't think this is any different from that. I don't think that people are studying anymore. I don't think that people are really taking the time to pour into themselves, let alone their family, their kids, and what's going on within their home. So if they're lacking that knowledge of self and they're not interested in building upon or learning about our forefathers and mothers, then what do we really have?
We have to keep building because the information is before us, and we're not taking the time to actually examine any information that we do have before us. There are not a lot of real scholars who really like put it down and read and study and really get and really pour it back and give to the people. That's why it's very, very important for us to continue to always read. A lot of us are getting away from books because a lot of people don't like to read. You have a lot of people, I say it all the time, we have a lot of people with YouTube degrees, um, TikTok certificates, Facebook diplomas. A lot of people won't read, but we would check out memes, videos, shorts, reels. But when you see that short and you see that reel or you see that video, jot down the information. Look, Google the words. You know what I'm saying? That's what scholarship begins, and then have a unbiased opinion about what you are learning about. Because if you go on there one sided, you're only going to give a one side. You're only going to get a one sided answer. That's why it's very important for us as a people to read the information, have an unbiased opinion about what we're learning, and then make a strong opinion, and also weigh out the positives, the negatives, and all of that. And then that's what scholarship is building. My main thing is for me when I start reading and start becoming a scholar and start becoming an astute person that reads, I start learning words. because I learned that the average man only knows a certain amount of words. So I got to it, learning synonyms, learning antonyms, pretty much like taking myself back to school, even as a grown man. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important to build that way, because if you have the words, the vocabulary, then you can definitely better comprehend any information that you do have. And also with a good timeline, jot down the dates, whatever particular subject that you are studying, because you have to go back to those dates and verify those dates, not just verify those dates, but also put the puzzle together. When you
Yeah.
put in the puzzle together with dates, timelines, and a geographical map, you can find a lot of information out. It's not complex, but
Back.
we are Hollywood now. You know what I'm saying? The conscious community is Hollywood. We love the show. We love
Yep.
wearing the copper, the gold, and we
Yep.
love everybody walking up to us, peace, God. And this is such and such. This is such and such, and we're getting away from the very thing that we were learning and that build us as a people.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Thinking about something that you said, with the university, online universities, and it's true because, again, like you said, I was thinking about, dang, I haven't had a library card in 100 years. Do people still go to the library card to do research? Because that's the best place. I remember back in the day, if you had to do a research paper, how many tons of books did you have around you sitting at a table, and you had to use this one and then you had to use that, citing this from this, and like you said, keeping that notation, because if you are doing a research paper and if you have to do a citation, you do have to have the date. You are keeping a chronological order of the information that you're using. So, thanks for encouraging me by saying that, because now you make me want to go to a library. I frequent Barnes and Noble, and I always make sure I leave with a new book. I think it's important for us to continue to purchase books, even as an author. I People are always like, oh, I want to purchase your book. I'm like, but did you read it? And like you said, there's so many people nowadays so to your point about the whole internet situation, I was just telling this to Goddess Courtney a couple of days ago. The attention span when I was in school, probably like high school, something like that, was 8 seconds. People can only pay attention for 8 seconds. Nowadays, it is 2 seconds because of all the shorts and all of the reels. And, people cannot stay focused for a long time because things are coming so fast. As the age of information is being let out so fast. We just said that last week. There's so many things that is happening in society that is difficult to keep up with. So unfortunately, you have to kind of challenge yourself to increase your attention span. How long can you pay attention to somebody talking that's in front of you? Are you really focused on what they're saying? Can you dissect exactly what they're saying? Do you have critical thinking skills, critical understanding, reading comprehension? There was a gentleman that I was on a podcast with last week. He said that when he was 11 years old, he was reading at like a first grade reading level. And it took him an entire summer to get to that point, to get back up to his reading level and then some. So how many adults today are walking around with maybe high school reading levels? I could say growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, I was thankful because I knew words like organization when I was like 7. And responsibilities and different words because we were always reading texts, Watchtowers and Track Society and Awake magazines and Bibles. And, my dad was like, go get this book and read this. So he was constantly pushing us to read. So that's the only reason why I believe I am into, learning and going down rabbit holes, as we would say today. You really have to challenge yourself right now because, and I said this in a YouTube that I did during the pandemic. I said, we really have to encourage our kids to write and buy books for them that actually encourage them to learn how to write in script, because we're going to go back to an age where they're just going to have us write these X's again. If everybody's on a tablet, if everybody's on a cell phone, if everyone's typing on a computer, you're not going to have to use your handwriting much longer. We also have to think about that too.
Hey, I want to say, peace and black power to everybody that's on the feed listening to us. If you have any comments, drop them comments and hit that like button, subscribe to the show. Appreciate you all.
What it look like to you, Watto? What is scholarship? When you think about scholarship, what do you think about?
Basically, y'all said it all. Y'all said it all.
Yeah, because you know, as they was unpacking, this is what this made me think about. Like you know, shout out to my Baba Olatunji. That's one of the things he's very strict on me about. Timeline. He's a stickler for timeline. And let's just say, let's do it like this. If we talk about the 15th or the 16th century, by us understanding that timeline and that chronological period, we're able to pinpoint what the culture was like around that time, what the people were doing versus periods prior to that. So timelines give you clarity. But you know, something else I was really thinking about, I was like, because Knowledge said everybody had this camaraderie. You know, you had like Queen pointed out, you had brothers on the corner, you had people that were, you saw collectiveness, you saw unity with knowledge.
Yeah.
Now it was like, because it was like a read to understand, or it was a read to understand back then. Now, if they are reading, they're reading to prove a point. They're reading to they reading to debunk somebody else.
Yeah.
Instead of like Queen was saying, when you go to the library and you land all of these pieces of information out, you trying to come to a clear consensus of what you're looking at, and you trying to gain an understanding. It's like now, it's like the sets. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said, when we're talking about the Willie Lynch, we're not talking about the physical, the literalness of what's being, well, I guess I kind of am. Because when I think about it, I always say the methodology. Okay, we might argue over who wrote it, or is it real, or is it fake? But when you look at the methodology of differences, so now the phony scholarship now is like sets. It's like, okay, indigenous Abo versus African. You ain't asked your grandma, you know what I'm saying? My grandmama told me, everybody grandmama told them they can't give you clear, concise points, but they can tell you what their grandmama said. And that's not scholarship. You know, it's a lot of ego.
Yeah.
You had Dr. Ben, and you had none of John Henry Clark that could sit together and not overshadow each other.
Yeah.
He dropped his, and then he tag team and he dropped his science, because it was about really waking the people up and not swaying the crowd, not trying to see who got the best knowledge, when you still don't ever really kind of come away with a clear answer. You know, if we think about the de-evolution that, because I also was thinking about this, what y'all think about this? I know the answer, and I think it's kind of, but it's like, do you think the technology and the internet hurt the information, or did it help the people get the information?
Well, no, it hurt.
Go ahead.
It hurt me. It helped, but we used this in the wrong way, man. Instead of using it the way we're supposed to, we using it in the wrong way. Well, I had wanted to piggyback off what you said. You know, like I grew up seeing all different type of ideologies getting along. You know what I mean? All of them. You know, even the debates were different back then. What we have today are not debates. You know what I mean? It's not debate. So when you ask that question, I say, hell no, we don't have no scholars today. We have a bunch of clowns and fools. But let me retract. Because you a scholar, and you a scholar. You know what I mean? All the people who supposed to be scholars are buffoons, man. I take that Yeah. I mean, for real. Come on, man.
Fact. That's fact.
For real. That's my opinion on it, man.
I think you was about to say something, Wayne, you know?
Nah, go ahead.
Oh no, because I thought you was gonna say it, but yeah, I do think I think the information, I think the internet did a little bit of both. I think it hurt them from the standpoint of like what Queen was saying, that the lack of concentration. I think that's what's pulled us away from the book and where you got to get up and go get it. Now the information is right in your hand, and people still won't go get it. It's like right in the palm of your hand. And one thing about what I like about reading, because it continues to make me exercise my mind. And I think that's what we got to understand too. Mental exercise is that you can sit for an hour still. I'm an introvert, so I can sit still. I can sit still and I can sit by myself. I can sit with my own thoughts. And reading kind of helped that. And I'm going to say, like, for me, like Queen said, it was how she grew up as Jehovah's Witness that kind of got her prepared. With me, it was like always being on punishment as a little boy. And I had a library in my room. So I was always like getting put on punishment and sent to my room to read. So now that just transformed all over to me. Because I ain't gonna lie, because throughout my journey, I went through a long period where I did read. But it was like, I think I was probably like maybe like 23, 24. And I stayed not too far away from this library. And I would go to this library every day, and I read everything that looked like us that I wanted to read. I read it. Everything that didn't look like us, I read it. So I had a real appetite for knowledge, and that's what I question a lot of times too. How many people that call themselves scholars really have a real appetite for knowledge and want to help the people, and not show off and intellectually masturbate and sway, be like, it's all about me. But, I think like I started out, I said, it's love. It was the love. It was the love of the people.
I think definitely the internet ruined so much, especially with the genesis of social media, because so many people are just so confident. I call them telephone gangsters. So many people are behind, their thumbs, so confident, and I'm like, my man, you can't even hold a conversation with me in person. You rather text me? Like, get out my face. I don't expect you at this point. You know what I mean? So it's like, when I think about that, it's like, how do we correct that? Because people don't realize one word on the internet in your favorite search engine, A&D as the word and, could change the entire trajectory of your research. If I want to look up scholarship and Black communities, I'm going to get something completely different. Whereas if I just looked up scholarship in Black communities, usually there's keywords that you can use to research and utilize the search engines properly. And I think, again, there's so many teachers in our schools, because it starts early. Let's be frank. If you're not doing it in your home, if you're not taking the extra time to educate your children, then yes, we're going to continue to repeat this cycle. The Westerners are going to continue to water down the education and give them what it is that they want for us to learn. And I think that's also the key importance, because I think a lot of parents had a rude awakening when they had to now homeschool their children and had no idea how to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, we really have to we need to take everything back. There's so much stuff that we've put in the hands of the Westerners that we're just content with them telling us what to do at this point. Does that make sense? It's like,
Yeah.
we're just allowing them to give us whatever. We don't even know if what we're seeing on social media is really what's happening in the world. We don't know what we're reading on the internet is actually what's happening in the world. This is all driven by a machine that is feeding us this information. This could all have happened 5 years ago for all we know. Do you understand? So it's like, how do we take these constraints back? How do we gain that knowledge and that power back? Who are going to be the people that are going to stand up and to conceive this scholarship, and really gift it to the next generation? What age group do we actually gift it to? It's so many questions that we can really unpack with this, because there is a lack of knowledge, amongst our people. They really only care about these fake celebrities, which is terrible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's like, what is there? Do you know how to make bread? Like, do you know how to make a plant grow? Do like, it's just so many deep questions, because this shit gonna hit the fan and all these people gonna lose their mind because they don't have Wi-Fi.
That is a true statistic. They said 90, 80, I think said 80 or 90% of the population is gonna be in trouble without internet. Like, people gonna start killing themselves. And they got a thing now, they got iPad, and iPhone babies. When you take the device from them, they go crazy.
Yeah.
I've seen videos. Look.
Are y'all talking about like the little gents, like the little kids?
Yeah,
no, like little kids, like actual little babies that go crazy because they don't have that blue light shining in their face.
Yeah, you gotta realize they growing up with this.
Mm-hmm.
They actually growing up with this, man.
But what do they do? Are they like what, freaking out, like crying, or?
You have to go. I don't even have TikTok, and I've seen these TikTok videos. You have to see these kids' reactions to not having a device. Like, you almost always have to have more than one in your house and have one charged, because it's over.
But you know what happened to the young man that I think his parents took his iPhone or something from? He tore the whole house up.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
But the way my grandmother would beat my ass, bro, ain't no way.
Yeah.
Any one of them Caribbean people were not having that. And that's what's really lacking, that matriarch. And that's why I'm so happy to be in the Aquarian age, to switch it to the spiritual real quick, because if the matriarch and the divine feminine is actually going to rise up back into power, we need that. We need to be whooping these kids' asses. I'm sorry, YouTube, but that's really what it is. There's no structure. There's no discipline. There's no discipline at all. Nobody's yelling at everybody. Everybody's passive parenting. Everybody's speaking so delicately to their kids. Oh, you don't want to hurt their feelings. Everybody's getting trophies, participation trophies. We ain't creating thugs. Nobody got a backbone. Like, what are we doing? Everybody's so soft. And that cannot be the case. That cannot be the case.
I'm going to tell you this. This is what happened. You're in Western European law. Up under Western European rule, you whoop your kids, that's a charge. So you have to be strategic in how you handle that situation like that, because commercially, allegedly, I'm gonna say allegedly. I don't want nobody.
This is for entertainment purposes only.
Entertainment purposes only. Allegedly.
Believe
the kids do not belong to you once that birth certificate has been signed by the father.
Right.
So that's called commerce. But I'm gonna say this: if you discipline your kids in the wrong fashion, you will be put on probation by your state local jurisdiction.
Man, I used to get hit upside my head. I used to get pinches. I used to get hit on my hands. There's plenty of other ways to discipline your kid than an actual belt and the whooping, is my point.
That's right.
There is a lack of structure and discipline in people's homes. And we talk about this as a repetitive situation. There's no male dominance in the home. It's all females. They're all working 2, 3, 4 jobs. There's so many issues. Like, we have to get back to that true community leadership. Where does that stand? Obasi, you made a point. There was genuine unity amongst cultures and communities and schools of thought. I feel like this group is attempting to do that all over again, but I really don't see this anywhere else. Everybody's talking about money and strategy and business in e-commerce. I don't really see people pushing schools of thought or knowledge. I don't see that.
I'm gonna say this from my opinion. I do think that there's like pseudo dominance. I'm gonna say that there's like pseudo dominance. What I think is like that real balance, that strong masculine balance. Because I look at it like this: if the parents are balanced, them children ain't out of whack. Those children are. If the most of the parents have knowledge of self, real knowledge of self, those children are in line. Not perfect, but they are in line. Like you said, we ain't raising gangsters. It's like that because in the engineering of the people, in the social engineering of the people, the parents are listening to the Sexy Reds. I'm talking about the ones that's my age and older. They out there. I don't know who that was sent me this video of these it was like the grannies going wild. So, when you look at like our grandmothers and that matriarchal system that you talked about, Queen, that was real balanced. That was real big mama. Now, and I'm a 42-year-old papa, from start, but I grew up with like structure. So it transferred over to my generations, but I think there's not enough real fathers in the household. There's not enough real loving fathers in the household. There's not loving mothers. Like you said, everybody's looking for, it's like prostitution. Everybody looking for money and sex. So this is kind of trickling down. And then when they're looking on the internet for knowledge, they find those booms that Ken was talking about. So it's like they don't know anywhere to go to get the authenticity that they need.
And name the buffoons, brother Boston. I know you don't have no problem saying name the buffoons.
No, that's I mean, I think like the top buffoon would be Umar Johnson. It's like colors. It's gonna be him because everything is kind of like self-centered. Then all of the ones that kind of fell down, the pharaohs, because they had information, but they was buffooning. They wasn't balanced.
Right.
That was pseudo masculinity.
Hate masculinity. Yeah.
They wasn't balanced, and they wasn't balanced in themselves because they were trying to prove points.
Right. Disrespecting elders and all.
Because you know what? The more we talking about this and we thinking about solutions, I talk about this all the time. We got to get back to brotherhood development.
Right.
I'm talking about real brotherhood development where there's checks and balances, and you can speak to your brother and y'all understanding. It don't go left. You can speak to your sister and you get an understanding. This shows children how to work problems out. And because I think what hurt us, and you talk about it all the time, Waldo, was the infighting. We talk about infighting all the time.
Yeah.
Because the trickle down from the lack of the scholarship is they're not saying culture teach you how to solve problems also. Culture solves problems. So by us being deprived of our culture and we in this foreign alien American culture, ain't that right, Tyreek Nasheed? This American culture, we thinking like
amen to that, brother. Yeah.
Which is America is Western society. It just is. It's an extension of Europe. It just is. So I think we have to get back to our understanding, with us talking about this. We got to get back and like Queen said, do you know how to make a plant grow?
Yeah.
You know how to make anything?
You know how to make some bread.
Yeah.
That's
basic stuff. But see, that stuff that we was taught just looking at our parents and grandparents look at as a kid.
How did it get away from us, though? How did it get away from us?
It didn't get away from us, per se, but it got away from the generation after us.
Yeah. And I can tell you, go ahead,
they're not here anymore. My grandmother transitioned when she was 39 years old. Well, she's surviving still. She's in her mid-80s. But again, going to her house, she literally had a forest. And this is the ancestor that I'm saying that came from a group of shamans. So it's like, that's the plant lady. I know what's up.
Right.
I know how to heal myself. I know what herbs to take if something go down, like we used to always have to go to our grandparents' house to get babysat, or some type of auntie or someone in the family who babysat all the kids. My aunt did that for our family. And now everybody all of a sudden became individualized. People don't live in the houses with each other anymore. Everybody got to have their own cribs. Everybody got to have their own wealth. Everybody got to have their own. There's no more carpooling. There's no more multiple families living in a home anymore. When I grew up, we had like 5 families living in our project apartment. We don't have that anymore. Everybody got money now, so everybody want to live on their own. That's how we got away from that.
Yeah, yeah, we're in the microwave, me society. Hey man, we don't even know who our neighbors are anymore. The neighbors was the community. Everybody knew each other. Everybody knew each other's kids and parents and
And
everything
you
else.
had a barter.
Oh yeah, yeah, but yeah, good. All that is gone,
You
Now,
gone.
had a barter,
now,
because if I need an egg, I could on shore be like, yo, we got some sugar. Can I get an egg?
Yeah, yeah. And that was a part of our life, well, of our life, literally. Yeah, but what I had to say, and I hate to say it like this, but it's the truth. Looking at Sarnetta TV, that messed a whole lot of stuff up.
did a lot of that.
It did a lot of damage.
MTV, the music box. I think that's really where the destruction came in.
The
Remember
music box.
when remember when you had to call in for the music videos?
Yeah,
3.99, 4.99. I think
yeah.
that's really where the destruction came in with the transition of hip hop.
Oh, you talk about the box.
The box.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you talk about the box where the thing used to come up on the TV and you had to put the number in. Yeah.
So
And
like we can give no mean to cut you off, but we could go down and list with all the scholars in the past. Who are the scholars now? That's the question. Who are
Come on. We,
scholars now?
we found the quality ones. Like I'm talking about the ones that
Yeah,
really have
that's my
that. Like,
whole.
it's
That's my whole point.
Well, we got. I think the scholars now are your Professor Smalls, your Infodicis, your the ones who actually put out information, who don't go around debating each other, and who can
Yeah,
actually
I can give
sit
you that.
down together and have a conversation where they bounce off each other the energy and synergy from them learning. You know what I'm saying? Their intellect and stuff like that. Also, I like the guy Baba Haru,
Well,
the Ump man.
yeah,
Yeah, I like it.
Baruti is scholar.
Then you also got Baba Baruti. So we do have a few that's among us that
balance.
that we can say, hey, they put out scholarly material that we can actually do research on.
Right, right.
there's a there's a book I want to give. It's called Kendezi. Kindezi. Kendezi.
I heard of that name before.
The Congo Art of Babysitting.
Hmm.
And in this book, it tells you how the Ndezi, which is the babysitter, is how in tune with that child it is, and how gentle and you have to be with that child. The real handling of children and adult relationships. Um, that's a great book to read because it shows how our, again, back to culture, it shows how the households was ran, how it was well thought out who was babysitting those children.
Right.
Hey, Shaka said we are the scholars of today.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
but not to say,
Hey, Queen said on a lot of past shows, we the OGs now.
I said, Shaka said that in the feed. We are the scholars
Yeah.
of today.
Yeah,
Right.
it's real talk, because it's almost as if, like, if we had the honor and the privilege of being connected to our, ancestors who are no longer here, we are really the gatekeepers.
Right, right.
Really what it is. It's unfortunate that society has intentionally planted us with these devices called cell phones
Yeah,
to really steer us away. And we all know it's all by design, but it's just, to me, it's still a form of population control.
right.
It's still a form of population control, because as long as you can control the masses to think one way, be one way, look one way, all they need is one major solar flare and a blackout for 3 days, and that's all you need.
I agree with you, Queen.
I'm gonna say this, we got to keep building, and not just building. We have to keep our focus, and what we learn, we must master it, because
Mm-hmm.
that's the key to mastery. You must master the information where I can go to Queen, I can go to Obasi, I can go to Kinwado, or either some other people, and break down the information where it's simple, and that person can understand it, overstand, understand, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they can actually take something from that information and grow from it. If not even grow from it, but they can take the information that you presented to them and get something from it. It's very important that we keep it together.
Yeah, I don't disagree. It's, I was talking to my sister today. She has my niece who's 4 months old almost. And, thinking about her, what does the future look like for her? I'm thankful that,
Right.
her dad is a conscious rapper, as we would say. So I know he has a lot of the tools, and I don't doubt that he would impart that on her. I'm thankful for that. My little sister, a little spicy, got a little thug in her. So I think I'm thankful for that. Just she has the tools in her home, but there are a lot of people who don't. There are
Right.
a lot of people who don't have both parents. I really think that we really have to focus on that, really hold a responsibility and accountability to the parents at this point. Get back to who you were during the pandemic, how much attention you were giving your child. Did you just pick back up and go back to work and lose that camaraderie amongst your family? Do
They
you still
did.
hold those values? We really need to really consider that once again, because I loved that energy. It was such a peaceful, thriving energy. I loved going out to, parks in the South and seeing people in the parks with their families and having that family time. That's really what's genuinely missing. Us being able to come together with our families to understand the traditions, understand the history, get the folk tales, hear these stories about our families, and really start imparting this information amongst the youth, because they're not going to have anything. They're going to allow the internet and social media to continue to raise their children.
That's crazy because kids don't even play out in the streets anymore.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Don't play. We played all types of games.
All
I saw
types
some
of,
little kids one day. They say we don't play games.
bro, we used to fiend to jump. When I tell you we used to use anything to jump double dutch, I used to
Yeah,
have whelps from the cable wires. We was using clotheslines. We was
yeah.
doing so much stuff. We would walk to the 99-cent store for miles just so we could get enough clotheslines to wrap it all together to be able to jump. We, I, my brother used to ride all over the city to ride bikes. Like, we need that again. And I live in a Hispanic community right now, and all they kids be in the back playing soccer together
Mm.
every day. Anytime it's nice outside, they in the back playing soccer.
All right, family. Any last remarks before we end the live stream? Obasi, Ken, Queen.
Hey, Queen, tell about these upcoming events. You got
Wow.
upcoming events, y'all. Where you gonna be at this Saturday?
So this Saturday, I am with the National Street Law Soldiers Unity Conference, April 27, 2024, from 2 to 7, 7922 Crichton Way, Forestville, Maryland. And we are discussing the restoration of our children. establishing unity amongst our elders, prosperity, economics. We have food, we have drinks. Everyone come one, come all. And I know that you all will be back for June 29th for your event. Please tell us about that as well.
Hey, tell them about it, brother. Okay, I'll lay it out. June 29th, we gonna have we call it the 2024 Unity Festival. The Avengers is gonna be most definitely in the house. You know what I mean? The brother Shaka Sankofa is gonna be the host with the most. That's the general right there. You know, we got the brother Knowledge Born 7 go get on the mic and, you know what I'm saying, do a little lecture, as well as the brother Abasi Kente, you know what I mean? Brother Tex gonna be there, Brother Rebel gonna be there, Rebel Vision Television gonna be there. It's gonna be a family affair like it should be. And we can't forget May 17th to 18th.
Yes.
Go be in the house. Go be in the house. I'm gonna be on the Avengers go also perform as well. Shout out to the Avengers. You know, we're gonna be on the stage rocking it out as we always do. So yeah, we got upcoming things coming along. So yeah, we're excited. Are we doing a live IG live Wednesday?
Oh, we haven't done that in a while. We probably should, huh?
Yeah, we should go ahead and rock out. Yeah, of course. Vokal Dialect. Follow us on IG. That's Vocal with a K. We going live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's what we gonna do. And like everybody who's on the feed, we appreciate y'all. We appreciate the support. You know, hit that like button, share this video, subscribe. You know what I mean? Make comments, whatever. Just support us. Support us because we support y'all. We love y'all.
Peace, Netta B. Thanks for tapping in and commenting as well.
Yeah, Netta B's on the feed, text, the general. Our sister, Nisha Sabat, she always, that's our elder sister. We love her, you know what I mean? We love all y'all. We love all y'all.
All right.
Yeah, that's about
All
it.
right, family. Till next time, we'll see y'all Wednesday. We will be live on Instagram, Vocal Dialect. Check us out, VOKALDIALECT. Peace, family. Peace.
Peace.